Okay, today is August the 12th, 2021, and this is actually a video from July. One of the videos from July that was shot to show how it is on the way to the mountain. We are right now maybe about 3 minutes off the main highway. And I guess one of the first thing I'll point out is that you'll see everything is extremely dry. During July, it's winter, so things look brown, much browner than normal. Normally it's very green. And the other thing I'll point out is the road that was done back in June before the elections. And it actually is quite good for a secondary road that is made of dirt. The government does a pretty good job at maintaining it. Next thing I'll point out is the wires that are overhead, the electricity wires. In another video, perhaps I'll show that back in 2019, they began a project to upgrade the wires, and they have come within, I would say, almost about a half a block from the mountain itself. So when that upgrade occurs, it'll actually be fantastic. In a split second, we're going to see a fork in the road coming up here. If we went to the left, we would go to a hotel called Pedazo de Cielo. I've mentioned that many times before. They have a group of about 10 cabins that they rent for about $200 a night, and they're normally pretty full for the nice weekends and for much of the year, with the exception of winter. At this point, we're heading on what is kind of a cobblestone road. Again, this is a city road. City might not be the right word, but it's a municipal road that is maintained as such. And coming up on our left, we're going to see a sign, not this sign, but eventually we'll see a sign that I'll point out that is for the Catholic Church Religious Retreat Compound, where they have cabins as well, and they have groups that come in by the busload normally for the weekends, but also during the week as well. It really just depends. I don't really know how they work their schedules. But all of this road is residents. I have drawn a lot of the workforce for different things from along the people who live throughout here, myself, and the people in the office. We know pretty much all the people in here as well. So it's not, we're out there, but we're not completely out there. We've got people. Sorry, that was the sign, if you didn't see it, that we just passed. Monte Sinai is the name of the religious Catholic Church compound. So as we keep going here, we're going to come up on a curve in a short bit that begins the land of a family that owns, I don't know how much land they've got, but it actually has a great view. And this is the land that was used for the bicycle races that we discussed some time back, cross-country biking. But since the pandemia, they haven't used it as such. And sorry, the land is over here on our right about now. Also, I'm going to point out this hill that's off to the right, and I'll catch up on that in a bit on what that hill is. So the road gets narrower, but it's not for too long. It's about, I would say, about 300 meters like this. And all the land on the right is that same family. And on the left, you have an assortment of houses with, I'd say, a pretty good amount of land, maybe a hectare. And now we're coming up on the mountain itself. These rocks here mark the beginning. Actually, the post on the left marks the beginning of the mountain, and everything that we'll see after is Monte Matteo. So as we head up here, the building is actually due south, which is to the left of us, but we've got to do kind of a roundabout here because of how the road is. Supposedly there was a road that just cut straight to the left and went up the hill, but anyway, as it is now, you go this way. And even the smallest cars that have come up with workers and so forth over the past years have had absolutely no trouble navigating this road. It looks a little bit bad, but it's really not. The rocks need to be cleaned up, or should be removed, but eventually there'll be more rocks, so we haven't bothered. Okay, we're going to take a moment here, and what we'll see on the right-hand side is two houses. One of the houses is vacant. The other house has a person living in it with her children, and they keep an eye out for people who kind of wander up onto the mountain. The house on the left is vacant as well, and there's kind of a structure behind it which is actually a detached kitchen, but as I said, it's vacant. I've moved the people out of there. All of the houses are concrete. Now as we move forward here, we're going to come up on a white gate. The white gate is a part of something that will be painted, and actually all of this area before the white gate is what has been budgeted for improvement as a part of the entrance. And I'm going to come back to this area later in the video. What you see to the left here, there was a water tank sitting on top of that. You might have seen that in other videos or other photos previously, but that has been moved. And as we come around the corner here, we begin our movement towards the building, and it's the first point in which you can see the building. All of this grass to the right is there because it prevents people from seeing the building from below. So it's kind of like you have to come in to see the building, and and I like that because it kind of gives you a moment that is hidden and until you have, let's say, paid to come in. So once again, everything is really dry because it's winter, and we had a dry July. All right, we're gonna turn around in the car here and get a better view. Now this was a hazy day, so the view's not great today. It's actually not very good at all. Directly in front of us, we are looking north. Looking north, and that reflection that you can see that's directly in front is the lake, and that is about 50. I don't want to say this wrong. I think it's about 50 miles. To the left, on the left-hand side, the city would be to the left of the lake. Between the mountains and the lake is the city, but again, we can't see it today. In the left part of the frame right now, you see some trees sticking up, and I think I'm going to do a turn a little bit more. That is about 4 city blocks of trees, which is really a nice area in there. And that will be one of the destinations that people can walk to. On the other side of the trees, you have incredible views, and that is the other side of the mountain. So I would say the walk that people would do would be to come out of the building, go towards the trees, and then kind of circle back around, circle back around. And I'll show you how later in the video. So everything here is kind of messy because it is July, and I think right about here we're going to move towards the, this is the septic field for the septic tank that they were doing in July. So yeah, I think that's where this part of the video will end, and then we're gonna go back and take a better look at some of the other parts. Okay, so the video has been slowed down a bit, and again, this fork in the road to the left leads to Pedazo de Cielo, that hotel, and 3 others at this point. And right here is the curve that is where the land of that family begins. So I didn't quite point that out well enough the last time. And what you see in the foreground, or in the background, excuse me, is a hill which doesn't have a name, and we had talked about the hills that did not have names. And this hill has a really good presence because you can see it from the valley below, and it really stands out from the valley below. Up here it doesn't look so big, but it is actually quite big. That is not on the mountain. It is actually beside the mountain. But either way, does not have a name yet, and we can discuss that later. To the left, we're going to come up on, you can see the ground kind of moving up to the left, and we are on the bottom side of a hill that also does not have a name. All of this part to the left is a part, or it's the bottom side of a hill that you can't really see that great from this side, but we're going to see it from the other side. But I wanted to point that out. Here, looking back, this gives you a pretty good idea of what people would see as they come up to the property. So they could go to the left, or they could go to the right to enter, and then the other lane could be for exiting, either the right or the left. But beyond the white gate, there is only one lane. Other thing I'll point out is once you get to the other side of this white gate, there is a road that goes off to the right, which goes to the other side of the mountain, and this is how people would circle back around. So they could go through the trees or go further into the land. Sorry, we're going to do that again. And then they could circle back around and come back up to the property if they wanted to. On this, going to the right would take you to the west side of the property. The west side of the property has incredible views, really incredible views that are quite different from what you see in the building. So I point that out because cars can go that way, but for the time being, there are trails there, but for the time being, I'm going to send all the traffic up to the building and let people walk from there. Oh, and this also, the grass that you see in front of you, it's not grass, but anyway, it's got a particular name, but that is blocking the view of the building, so you have to come in, and people would be greeted, before the white gate, and then they would come in and then head up around the corner, and that's where they would first see the building. So this area here is also a part of what would be improved, and part of what would be improved. So here is where you would first see it. And as we turn around here, right now we're looking due east, and we're going to move around to the left, and what you're going to see is that hill that doesn't have a name, and it's actually about the same height. Doesn't look like it here, but it's actually about the same height as the building. And as we look further left in frame right now, in the background, the green hill was the same hill that we saw coming in that I mentioned doesn't have a name, and you could see from the valley below. And here you can see you can see the top of it, but it actually, like I said, has a really good presence from below. And because we had discussed it, I'm pointing that out. And I think that's about all that we're going to cover with this video. So yeah, here again we're looking north to get your boundaries. In this video we don't look to the south, but anyway, we'll pick up with the rest in another video.